meeting of October 22nd, 2014 to order. Mr. Hovia, please read the call.
Robert Santeri.
Here.
Philip Roder.
Here.
Doris Bermudez. Robert Smith. Laura Howard.
Here.
Samantha Mandeville.
Here.
Alexandra Ash. Elizabeth DiRuggiero. Josh Estrella.
Here.
Adam Faig.
Here.
Brittany Frizzoco.
Here.
Ashley Goldberg.
Hi.
Jarrell James. Jason Johnson. Neftali Navarro.
Here.
Toby Riseborough.
Here.
Jason Royas. Nicholas Rose.
Here.
Derek Trombley.
Here.
Scott Kane.
Here.
Michelle Brophy-Behrman.
Here.
Mark Paolucci.
Here.
Hillary Costa.
Here. Okay, everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, seeking a motion for the approval of the minutes of the special election and regular meeting. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Agenda, approval of the agenda. Motion from Representative Rose. Second from President Santuri. Is there any discussion on this? President Santuri.
Thank you, Speaker Howard. I would like to strike Report A, Finance Commission meeting minutes
Second.
of October 8, 2014. They're being struck because they were not approved in finance today. Didn't have a finance meeting, so we're gonna have to wait until next week for that.
Motion from President
Second.
Santuri. Second from Representative Rose. Is there any discussion on this amendment? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Is there any other discussion on the approval of the agenda tonight? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Agenda is passed. Next, we move to approval of the minutes for the special election and regular meeting.
Motion.
Motion from President Santuri, second from Vice President Roeder. Is there any discussion on these minutes? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Okay. Is there anyone here for open forum? Yes, Patrick Hurd.
Yes.
You have the floor.
As you may know, I'm the general manager of Anchor TV. I film you guys every Wednesday. Today, at our meeting, we had one member show up. It was me, my secretary, and one member. Today, although, we had one person come to our office and say, hey, I got an email from the department head of film studies and say that Anchor TV is looking for people. And so we had a new member, but we still only had one person at the meeting. And I'd like to let you know, anything you guys can do, donate comm majors, film studies majors, theater majors, anybody that creates content, has content, wants it on air, send them over to us. Thanks.
Representative Rose, you are not allowed to respond to open forum. Thank you, Patrick. I think that might have been the first open forum I've had as speaker, so thank you.
The student union can't handle the
Student Union Ghost.
Okay, so is there anyone else here for open forum? Is there anyone else here for open forum? Is there anyone else here for open forum? With no one else here for open forum, we move to officers' announcements. President Santuri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Speaker Howard. So, the first thing that pretty much on everyone's mind right now, in case you have not read your Rick Commune in the last 24 hours, is an incident that happened in the dorms yesterday, last night, involving a sexual assault. I don't think it's really, at this juncture, appropriate. I know not many people's minds to discuss it here at Parliament because we don't really have any details or anything that matters, not really appropriate the way. But I'm going to yield the floor to Dr. Kane real quick, because I know it's on a lot of people's minds, just briefly to talk about what he can discuss at this time. So, Dr. Kane, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, President Santuri. So, at this point, we have a report, and so we would proceed with an allegation of the incident, and because it's an allegation, we have to investigate it. We have to determine what sort of action, if any, is appropriate. Obviously, both complainant and respondent have rights that we need to protect, so there's not really a lot that we could But, you know, these things have a way of circulating and coming up in the media and being covered. I think I heard Channel 10 was on campus today, NBC Channel 10. You know, we made a decision yesterday that we thought it was better to inform the college community rather than people to see it on TV or read about it in papers and then, you know, have us have to respond to that. You all, you're a community. You all, you know, deserve the right to kind of know what's happening on your campus before the general public. So, but our primary concern is obviously the college does not tolerate any level of sexual misconduct. We take that very seriously. We're going to respond really quickly, as evidenced in this particular situation. And you know, our primary concern is you know, with the rights of both parties, and in particular providing the appropriate level of help, support, and assistance we can to, you know, any victim of a violent crime. You know, we want to try to reach out and do as much as we possibly can.
Thank you, Dr. King. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, next on my list of things to talk about, I'd like to note, tomorrow evening is the Executive Board Networking Night for all the student organizations here at Rhode Island College, including Student Community Government. It will be across the hall in the ballroom. And it's going to be between 6 and 7:30 p.m. There's going to be food. While it is open to executive board members of all the clubs, I'm also welcoming you guys as members of parliament to attend, because I think it's important for you guys to meet and get to know some of the people that, you know, parliament kind of deals with in the long run. You know, clubs, like, you know, we always have clubs come with constitutions and everything. So I think it's important, if you guys can make it, that'd be great. It's no formal wear or anything. Just a simple networking night, try to facilitate clubs to talk to each other and maybe co-sponsor stuff. I know it's difficult for clubs to talk and meet up when everyone meets during free period for the most part. But there will be food. I will put out there right now. I know it's always a big thing, but there will be food. So I'm hoping for a good turnout for that. I'm not really putting any guesstimates on how many people will turn out, but as long as some clubs come and end up meeting each other and building a foundation for a strong friendship, that'd be great for me. And other stuff, the Unity Center dinner was this past Friday. It was a really great event. Dr. Kane was there, as was Representative Navarro and Representative Riseborough and Treasurer Smith, who's not here this evening. It was great seeing and celebrating the Unity Center's 20th anniversary. And it was also great being able to help sponsor the event. I know Antoinette was very grateful for that, and I know that very happy that the event happened. And other stuff, last night I participated in a conference call with the president of Active Minds, campus, Paige Berry. The conference call was about suicide prevention and also about mental health awareness as a whole. And essentially they had the founder of the entire Active Minds nonprofit organization who got to speak for a couple minutes about pretty much what Active Minds is, mental health awareness on campuses, et cetera, and all that stuff. And also they had different schools chime in with their comments or questions related to mental health awareness or suicide prevention, things they can do. I know Paige actually got to be able to ask a question to the founder of Active Minds about membership, and there were some really great ideas in that. There are some things that Active Minds, I think, got out of it and so that they can do as an organization. Representative Stoker is actually the treasurer of Active Minds. There's also things that SDG can do that we got out of it as a whole. One idea I'll tell you guys briefly about is on your student ID cards at some colleges, they end up putting the information for, say, a suicide hotline, the counseling center, and like domestic violence hotlines on the back of your student ID card. These are the kind of creative things I've never thought about because you don't really think about it too much. But it's something that can go a long way. So you'll be seeing stuff like that, hopefully. And speaking of mental health awareness and suicide prevention, I'm going to be arranging with Dr. Lampin next week or so, a time and date for QPR training. If for those of you who remember when Dr. Lampin came here, QPR training is question, persuade, and refer. It relates to suicide prevention and to also mental health awareness. I know it's a very touchy thing, as he talked about. It's a very emotional thing. So I anyone here doesn't want to do it, that's more than understandable. But I ask if you do want to, please see myself, or Chief of Staff Riseborough after the meeting, or just so we can get a full list going, so I like to have this done, or at least set up the meeting in the next 2 weeks. Sorry guys, this evening it's been a while. Also, the SCC met last night to go over the debrief for the event. It was a very brief meeting, but we were just able to talk about the success that Alumnia Live was, and we will maybe be laying out the groundwork in the future for smaller events. I know a couple from the programming representative, Katie Salisbury, and Emma, who's the chair, had some really good ideas they wanted to do. Also, next Wednesday, so you guys are aware, I will be going to finance. One thing that I've been trying to do this year is for clubs is try to build the best relations we can possible, because we oversee them and we work with them at the same time. And something that has not been done in 6 years is getting them newer computers. That's something we'll be going for. I hope finance will say yes, hopefully, fingers crossed, but we'll see about that. In other development news, the bike racks, the long-awaited bike racks I've been talking about, are going to be installed around campus next week or two. They're going to be installed, some of the new ones will be installed across from the Ducey Media Center. Some will be installed at some of the dormitories that don't have them, including Willard and other places. Something else is I've been meeting with, we're going to try to be with every single organizational president for the years out, talk about their goals and things SUD can do to help support them. And also, another initiative I'll ask you to speak to Chief of Staff Riseborough about at the end of the meeting if you're interested, is I want to try and talk to some professors who I know would be interested in having student community come to the classroom, like 4 or 5 minutes before the meeting classroom stops, and talking about SEG. Hopefully they would want to join, and just making people aware that SEG exists as a whole. Class Purpose Act is finally coming tonight. Just to give you another update, there's about Brown Hall printing. There's a snag or two about that. I need to meet and talk with Kristen Salemi, who's the head of the student union, about that. Just a couple issues, just that way everything's all clear before we actually go forward with that. And I also promised Mr. Murphy I would mention this. The Green Team for Sustainability here at the college is having a meeting November 5th during free period. If you guys are interested in that, please let me know. And also, while student community government is not involved in the event, I was able to snag a couple extra tickets for the event on Friday, where Hillary Clinton and Gina Raimondo are coming here to the campus. If you guys don't have a ticket and you want one, I have 5 extras. So if you do want one, please let me know. See me after the meeting, come up to the office. Just first come, first serve, really. So just let me know, and that's all I have, Speaker Howard.
Alumni Representative Costa.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, friend.
2 things.
Yep.
One,
Mm-hmm.
I saw, and I was like, the shuttle bus app.
Yes.
Did you talk about it last meeting?
We did mention it early this year in a meeting that the shuttle app is up and going now. I remember the first day of the semester I talked with Will Potter, who's also the president of ABC, who's also been a huge person working on the shuttle app, and he said it was going smoothly despite a couple kinks. Since then, I haven't heard any complaints. I know a couple students have used it and they say it's wonderful.
Great.
I know Dr. Kane's been involved in that too with the shuttle. We're getting Translope, which is the name of the shuttle app, up and running, and I'm really glad that students are using it, and I'm glad just finding it more accessible and easier than what we had before.
#follow-up. Also, when you were talking about, I spaced out for 5
Yep.
seconds and came back and I was like, ooh, that was important. So you were talking about putting a resource number on the back of the student ID.
Yes.
Was that for mental health?
Well, I guess I forget the name of the college, and I wish I remembered. I think it was Columbia University. What they do is they have your student ID cards. Currently, right now, for those who don't know, it's the mission statement on the back of your student ID card. And what they do is they put the hotline number they put the number for your counseling center at your school, so Columbia's Counseling Center. And alongside that, they had the numbers, I believe they said, for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, the domestic violence, calling if it's you reporting it or if you know if it's happening to you kind of hotline, and a couple of different related numbers. I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah.
I know talking to Dennis downstairs has always been really great. I talked to him today briefly about it. They just ordered a bunch more for the next 2 years for the supply. Funny fact. But I'm gonna be saying with President Cariola. Eastern Connecticut State University does something like this. I'm gonna try to hold out. It's a little booklet thing you can hold your card in, but it also has a bunch of other useful information. So I will be speaking to her about that hopefully soon and seeing what she says. But I would be really happy to at least have something, because I think that considering every student gets a student ID, or at least should be getting a student ID
Yeah.
card, that I think it'd be a really great way to help raise awareness about the counts attending here at the college, among other things. So.
Absolutely. I was just thinking, it sparked my mind because I was just finishing the project at work. It's called Rose Resource Card, and it's a project that deals with domestic violence. And it's got probably 12 numbers and addresses of all domestic violence resources. And it's just, and they fly off the shelves at the medical office building. So I think that's an initiative on your list, I would definitely pursue it.
No, it is
In
one
wake
of,
of recent events.
yeah, I think so. And I think that it does a lot of great different ideas that they do around the conference call. Again, some of the things that for Active Mind for their events, I know they'll probably implement. I know Paige will talk to me about that, but some things that SEG can do. Actually, the first thing they mentioned was, talk to your student body president, which is good because, I think mental health awareness and suicide prevention is the most important things I think that SEG can try and be a voice for and advocate for here in this campus, especially those who feel they have no voice. So I'm really glad that I was able to participate in that phone call, and I know if I hear about similar phone calls in the future, I got this one very last minute, I'll be sure to let you guys aware, so hopefully you guys can participate in it as well. It was a simple conference call, you get to call in, just listen, it was really informative. But, is that all?
That is all.
Okay, no more announcements, President
No,
Sandrine?
I'm good.
Okay, Vice President Broder, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I am in the process right now of setting up the a town hall meeting in which should hopefully be the Willard Rec Center, where students can come to us with either concerns they have or I guess complaints or just ideas about how to improve resident life on campus. We'll be holding one later next semester, dealing more with the campus abroad, but this one will be mostly focused for resident life here on campus. I still have to hear the official details on whether or not we get the spot, but it should be on Wednesday, November 12th, a non-parliament Wednesday, sometime around 7. Hopefully we get the space, but I will let you know for sure once we get that there, once we get the spot. I also would like more elections and PR committee people. I just found out that I have another PR person and I am elated about that, but I would love even more. I could also use more elections committee people. It's really not a big time commitment, but it's really important during election time and to validate petitions, so we can actually have more people here to talk about things on this campus. So if you have any friends that might be interested, I guess. Yeah, sure. I will also be contacting Omnia, who is are they hosting or they?
The host, yeah.
They're the host for our SCG website. I'll be contacting them hopefully tomorrow about what we can do to upgrade our website and get that whole ball rolling. So hopefully I will have a lot more updates next meeting on the status of that. Depending on how that goes, we might also just look at what other options we have, whether it be like WordPress or just setting up a different type of hosting altogether. And lastly, I meant to mention it with the PR thing. I've set up times for our PR meetings. The first one that we're gonna have under me is going to be next Tuesday at 12 in Student Union 401, the Parliament office. It'll be at 12. So if you guys have any suggestions of what you think I should discuss with my members or anything, I list of everything that we talked about during the PR discussion last time. I'm gonna go over all that stuff, but if you have anything new that you think that I should bring up with everybody that we need to work on, please do. And that is it for my announcements.
Okay. Next we move to Secretary Bermudez, but since Secretary Bermudez is not here, we move to SOC Coordinator, Adam Fake.
Okay. I have two announcements from Doris. We have two constitutions here today, which you will hear about later in the agenda. Apparently 3 to 4 should be coming soon, but I don't think this meeting. And just a heads up for anyone in clubs and organizations, the next roundtable is November 12th. I'll be sending out an email about the time. But if you guys have any topic suggestions, we're looking for those. You can come up and see us, or you can email that. We're looking for topics for that. So that's it. That's it for my announcements.
All right, thank you, Representative Fake. Next we move to Treasurer Smith. But since Treasurer Smith is not here, we move to President Santuri.
Thank you, Speaker Howard. I will not try any impression of Treasurer Smith, but I will commend SOC Coordinator Shagan his impression of Doris. It was very wonderful. So, just to update you guys what Rob gave me for announcements. All the PT meetings for the clubs are finally done. So, yay. He didn't include yay, but yay. Budget reports went out last Friday or Monday to all the organizations here. So if you're an organization and you want to see your budget so far, in case you're not keeping track of it yourself, check your student organizational mailboxes downstairs here in the SU. And on another note, the following clubs have either voluntarily disbanded or they've essentially lost their funding for one reason or another. I'll be sure to say it as I go. The following, Catalife, we had no information on, so right now we consider them to be an inactive club. We actually also have 2 guitars upstairs, so
You're jamming on.
I'll soon I'll be shredding it like Paul McCartney. So in due time, guys, it's fine.
Please, please.
Oh yeah. Sorry, the bass player in the room corrected me, guys. Sorry, guys. Health education voluntarily disbanded. What that means is the club at the start of the year, whether it be former officers from last year or someone from the club who is their representative, came to us and said, we are not going to be a club anymore, whether it be lack of membership, lack of interest, or some other reason. Health education voluntary disbanded. Henry Bernard School Mentors, they had no information. Nabalsa was non-compliant. Physical education voluntarily disbanded. And Survivors Councils voluntarily disbanded. All these funds were revert to the general fund for a total of $4,926.00 for all 6 organizations. And that is my best Treasurer Smith impression, Speaker.
Thank you, Secretary. Okay, guys, I have 3 leaves here to read you today. Dear Madam Speaker Howard and fellow Parliament mates, I am sorry, not too sorry, to say that I must miss this meeting due to having to go back home to take care of some personal matters and eat some good home-cooked food. I have left my materials for Parliament with my minion. Try not to miss me too much. I shall be back before you know it. LOL. See you all at the next meeting. Sincerely, your Secretary, Doris C. Bermudez. Motion from Deputy Speaker Mandeville. Second from Representative Riseborough. Is there any discussion on this leave? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Leave passes. Okay. Hi, Laura. I am furthering my education in New York. I won't be in Parliament. K-bye. Rob Smith, Treasurer.
Oh.
Motion from President Santuri. Second from Representative Navarro. Is there any discussion on this leave? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Representative Rose opposes. And with that, leave passes. Okay, guys, last one. Greetings, milady. I won't be able to make it to tonight's meeting due to a previous engagement. Best, Liz DiRuggiero.
Motion.
Motion from President Santuri, second from Representative Rose. Is there any discussion on this leave? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Leave passes. Aside from that, I don't think I have any announcements. Deputy Speaker Mandeville, the floor is yours.
I'm going to finance next week finally for our complaint boxes. And Arthur from Donovan came up to me earlier today to let me know that they're going to be doing their monthly food service meetings again, which are completely open to the public. And it's next Tuesday at 12:30, so I'll be a little late to PR. But I encourage all of you to come. It's Arthur's really nice. He listens to what we have to say to him, and a lot of the suggestions that we brought to him at the end of last year, he's taken to heart. And there's been some improvement with Donovan this year, but hopefully if more students show up, and don't make that face. There's been some in terms of what we brought up with them. But hopefully if more students show up than what was there last time, then, things can move along and we can help create an open dialogue between Donovan and the students.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Speaker Mandeville, and I highly suggest that everyone goes to that.
But not for me.
But don't come angry like me. Okay, so next we move to reports. Item A, Student Organization Committee minutes of October 8th, 2014. SOC Coordinator Faig, the floor is yours.
These minutes are in here somewhere. You'll find them in your agenda, and I would ask that you accept them with unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to these minutes being accepted with unanimous consent? With no objections, they are accepted. Thank you, SOC Coordinator Faig.
It's like Jericho, actually.
Okay. Next we move to old business. Item A, Class Purpose and Unity Act Resolution. President Santuri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Speaker Howard. Speaking of very old business, from the very first meeting that was over a month and a half ago now, guys, seems like it was not so long ago, but the Class Purpose and Unity Act resolution has once again come back to our doorstep. So you guys are aware, SOC did take a look at this and they passed this as, is that correct? Okay, I'm getting a nod from members of SOC, so I'm gonna say yes. The changes there are pretty simple. They're all, most of them are cosmetic changes related to grammar, because I got corrected about that last time. And we made it properly spelled out what they have to do. They can co-sponsor, what the amount they will be awarded, and it will be done by March 1st, because by then they will have most senior classes hopefully will have their senior week planned by then and hopefully finalized. But this is extra money in case, that way they have a little extra. And yep, so that's pretty much it. I mean, if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to take them, but this is pretty much what it is, guys. Any questions?
Representative Goldberg?
Yes.
Are you trying to put this through retroactively for this year's class clubs or
well,
for next year's?
I was thinking about that. I was wondering when I was thinking of that question. Because as far as to my knowledge, none of the class clubs have exactly jumpstart and tried to do any sort of charity events yet. So I think as of right now, everyone will be at an even playing field. So I would like it to be retroactive if no one has any issue with that. If you do, we can make it next year. That's no problem with me. But I would just like to see this be implemented at some point in the near future. So I'll be happy either way. So you want to make the motion for that? Or?
No, I actually wanted to voice my concern on
Yeah,
it being
sure.
retroactive. I know from experience when planning a charity event, it can take some time, especially when it's for a contest. We're trying to raise the most money, and when you're planning a charity event, you really want to make it big. When the deadline's March 1st, it just might be really tight, and it might be really hard, especially for, say, the freshman class.
Yeah.
They may not have done this before,
No.
and you're jumping them into it with only a few months. And if a one of those months is a winter break. So it's, giving it this short a time would be a little I just think it would be a little difficult for those, to jump right into it. So that's my only concern.
That's fine. I mean, like I said, unless people were clamoring that haven't been implemented for this year, I would just fine with it going in next year. While I would like to have seen this year, the fact it's getting done is good enough for me. I don't want to try and make it difficult for the classes. I would still hope that the classes this year would try to put out charity events. I would strongly encourage them. I know I see actually see two class presidents in this room currently. That's right, Mr. Representative Estrella and President Goldberg. And we do not have the freshman class president on here. And three class. Behind the camera, you guys just popping out of the walls here. So I would want to encourage you guys to still do charity events, but it's not going to be beholden to you or anything this year. So does anyone have another question?
Alumni Representative Costa.
Never mind.
Okay. There's no one else on the list? So are we making this, would you like to vote on this to be retroactive?
No.
No, okay. Yes, we need a motion. Motion
Second.
from President Santuri, second from Representative Rose. Is there any discussion on the Class Purpose Immunity Act resolution? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? The act is passed. Okay. Next we move to new business. Constitution's SOC coordinator, Fade, the floor is yours.
Cool. What?
It's so positive.
No. What am I looking at? All right, we have two clubs here for their constitutions. The first one is the Cape Verdean Student Association. It is Shanice and Ramira are here, over there. So.
Okay, so if you guys want to just stand and come stand over here, and you can just tell us a little bit about your constitution.
My name is Shanice. I'm the president of the Cape Verdean Association. This is my treasurer, Ramira. Well, sorry, my secretary, treasurer. There's two of them. They're both related, so I always mix up the two. Our main goal, we're recently trying to start up. We've been trying to get a little bit of notice around campus. We've worked on activities to try to get students to be interested in becoming members. Since then, we've had 4 to 5 meetings in regards to seeing if students are interested and seeing what they would want to offer for the community of Brick. Our main goal is basically to get not just Cape Verdean students, as in commuters, but mainly students in general, to be interested in Cape Verdean culture. Is that we're trying to be very diverse, so anyone who is interested in signing up is
Okay, Representative Rose.
Well, one comment and one question. Well, I'll start with my comment first. Well, as I know many Cape Verdeans here at Rhode Island College, but I haven't met you two before, and believe me, it's very important to have an organization like this. And my question to you is, I'm mainly of European origin, around like Eastern Western European. Would you be able to allow people like that into the organization?
Yeah, everyone's welcome. It's not just, it's still a student organization, so
Right.
everyone is welcome, not just Verdeans. So
Okay.
you're welcome to.
Alright, that is all, Madam Speaker.
Okay, next on the list, Mr. Paolucci.
I don't know if I'm showing my age, but, Mary, can you help me? Is this a new organization or
They are restarting.
restarting, right?
Yeah.
Because there was a Cape Verdean.
There was a Cape Verdean Student Association, went inactive around 2012,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
Okay, is that all? Mr.
Showing
Paolucci?
my age.
You wear your glasses.
I can't see the name cards. It's too small.
Vice President Broder.
I was just curious if you guys have any ideas on like what kind of like events you were thinking of putting on, if any, or if you were just really looking to like get together just to kind of like better understand like the culture and kind of like what exactly like you were intending.
We recently, well today, we had a meeting in regards to events. up in like a costume like, but based on dress code, and having where they could celebrate those kinds of events. And
We have another one too that would, it would be, it's like a charitable event where we would raise like school supplies for the kids at Cape Verde. And that would go to send to kids at Cape Verde since all they really need is a notebook and a pencil for class. So we would just want to do that as one of the events too, so people get to know more about our culture and about our country and see how we still try to make that like the mainstream.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Yeah. Motion from President Santuri, second from Derek Trombley to approve this constitution for the Cape Verdean Student Association. Is there any more discussion on this constitution? With no more discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Constitution Representative
Abstaining.
abstains. Okay. Your constitution passes. Congratulations, ladies. Okay, Representative Faith.
I just have one more constitution, it is the Otaku Club, and cameraman Patrick is here.
Triple duty tonight.
President Cameraman, yes.
Yes, I'm President and Treasurer Patrick Hurd. I'm here from Otaku Club. As far as I know, we only made small changes to our constitution to fit to the new model constitution. If you'd like to read it, feel free. That's all.
Seeking a motion to approve
Second.
this constitution. Motion from President Santuri, second from Deputy Speaker Mandeville. Is there any discussion on this constitution? Vice President Broder.
I'll let you do me straight now.
I was gonna write it.
Just so I know, what kind of events are you having planned on the horizon?
I'm glad you asked. We have a cosplay dance party happening November 7th, I believe, right here in the ballroom. So it is $5 without a costume, $3 in a costume, depending if you like to come. We also have meetings, usually in this room, every week on Tuesdays. We watch anime, discuss anime. That's all.
Representative Rose.
I got one question for you, Mr. Hart. What is cosplay?
Cosplay is when you dress up in costume, usually like someone from comic books, Japanese manga, anime.
But like Marvel comic books, you may say, right?
Yes, you can dress up as superheroes, supervillains.
I definitely do that my way.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. Thank you, Representative Rose. Representative Navarro.
How many members do you have in your club?
We have about 30 members that are consistently coming.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on this constitution? With no more discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? The constitution passes. Congratulations, Patrick. Okay, next we move to updates and remarks. Administration update, Dr. Scott Kane.
Boy. Well, I think probably the only thing we haven't really touched on so far, I just wanted to go circle around back to various committee assignments that students are appointed to through student community government, and I know everybody on this body has some responsibility to be on a number of committees, and then I'm sure President Santuri tries to involve a lot of other members, because there's a lot of other opportunities across campus that are not part of sort of the council committees, including things like the Student Union Advisory Board. We were talking about the residence halls earlier and sort of looking at them, and there are a couple of, and I don't think I may not have communicated this to you earlier, President Santuri, but we had talked previously, I think, about getting student representation on a couple of committees that are looking at the residence halls to either renovate them or to possibly build a new one. The person who, or the people who are overseeing those committees have agreed to student representation, so if you could find at least one student representative for those two committees. Again, one is for renovation, one is for building new. And then forward those names to me.
Okay.
I would appreciate it, and I'll get them connected with the right people on campus.
Can it be any student?
Can be any student.
Okay.
I mean,
Best student possible.
you would think you would want a residence
You
hall
would think.
student, you would think
Yeah.
perhaps maybe you would want to go through RSA, you know.
Yeah.
Their president may be too busy, but maybe that's where you start.
No, that'd be no problem.
But, you know, whatever sort of makes sense there. Maybe there's some residence hall, representatives, Representative Estrella next to me, like, maybe you're interested, in that assignment.
Sounds like you're being volunteered there.
I mean, you know, everybody has to look at their own schedule, and those are sort of above and beyond the council committees that President Sainsbury has to appoint people to. But, you know, if there's an interest of yours, and there's so much happening on campus, I'm sure we can find a spot.
Point information. Do you know the time of those committees that they meet or anything?
They actually have not been set yet, or, well, let me say a couple things. The renovation committee, is a little bit further ahead in the process than looking at possibly building new committee. But the renovation committee, I think, has had only one meeting so far. And so, you know, we've talked about some preliminary things, but you wouldn't have missed a whole lot. I would gather that both of those committees will probably meet over the next 3 or 4 months, in probably about 5 times each, for probably about an hour and a half each time. So there is a little bit of a time investment with those two particular groups.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Representative Frizzoka?
If you're not on the committee, could you still come and hear and maybe give your 2 cents about the different?
Well, let me say that I don't know that particular role would be appropriate, but what will happen with these committees, we've hired, so for the residence halls, we've hired outside architectural firms that do this sort of thing all the time. And they're going to collect information about, you know, what our needs are as far as, you know, what buildings, if we want to renovate, what buildings do we want to renovate, and try to plan a schedule for us, you know, what building might make sense to do first, and then which one second, you know, and that sort of thing, and looking at, because, you know, obviously when you renovate a building, you might lose some room space, and so you have to really figure that into the whole plan, you know, because you could end up displacing students who live on the campus, or losing revenue for the residence halls. All of those kinds of things need to be factored in. And when you're building new, you know, you're talking about what sort of site location, how many beds do you need, how many rooms do you need, what's the space, you know, all of that type of thing. And those kinds, in order to get that information, it's not just collected from the members of the committee. They help shape information that's collected. But those architectural firms will likely want to come to a student community government meeting to get some information. They will hold, you know, sort of town hall meetings, or what they typically call charrettes, to sort of say, you know, we got some ideas, and, you know, and they might even sort of show you ideas. Here's something, you know, that we did on a different campus. What do you think of this particular idea for maybe a room and a layout, or the kinds of things that one would have in a room? Or what do you think about this particular idea? Do you like a lot of glass, or do you like, you know, do you want sort of living room, fireplace kind of lounge look to it? Is that not important to you? They typically, you know, throw out a lot of ideas so that they can put together, you know, a good plan based on what students' needs and interests are. So those kinds of open charrettes or town hall meetings are really going to be more appropriate for students to attend than anybody else on campus. So that's a long way of saying lots of opportunity for student involvement, but I don't really think that it's, you know, once whoever's on the committee's on the committee, they should be the ones attending the meeting.
Okay, is that all, Representative Frizzoka? Representative Rose?
How you doing today, sir? I got one question for you. Oh, Blake, what is the membership structure like for these committees? Are there like faculty, is staff involved? If so, how many?
Yep, that's a good question. For the residence hall committees, I don't think there are any faculty involved. There's students, administrators, and then people in physical plant who do you know, capital projects and engineers and that sort of thing, because, you know, those are, you're not only, you know, you're not just sort of saying, you know, here's a really, you know, attractive shaped building or room, but you gotta figure out how do you get, you know, heat and air conditioning and all the appropriate wiring and all that sort of stuff in it too. So you need sort of the expertise from a lot of different sectors.
Thank you, Dr. Gain, about the all.
Thank you, Representative Rose. Okay, are there any other questions for Dr. Gain? Dr. Gain, do you have any more announcements?
No, that's it, thank you.
Okay. Next we move to faculty update. Dr. Michelle Brophy-Behrman, the floor is yours.
Okay, I guess I'm going to really focus on advising issues right now. I think I had mentioned in one of the meetings I was actually at one point that we were talking about peer mentoring and working on a proposal on that. And I haven't made much progress in that, so I just wanted to let you know, it's still on my back burner. The other thing is, I became aware of this in my first year seminar class. Students were telling me that they needed to schedule an appointment with their advisor, and they were actually using the MyRic PeopleSoft thing, and they were pulling down where you can actually schedule an appointment with your advisor, and they were finding, well, nobody's got a schedule on the scheduler, and some of you have probably dealt with that. So I think there's some confusion. An email went out to the students at some point telling them, make sure you make an appointment with your advisor. I've been trying to encourage faculty to use it, but the system is just really, it's not easy to use. It's not intuitive. But what I've been trying to do with advising tips that go out to faculty is to try to get faculty to think of other ways to reach out to their students. And yeah, we send out tips every week to advisors, because I just keep coming across more and more issues that students are dealing with. I've had multiple students say that they're skipping class because they have to go meet their advisor at that time, and I said, well, you know, skipping class isn't necessarily the best idea, and they say, well, that's the only time my advisor will see me. So I sent out a tip today about that, and how we have to really think about what message we're sending students if we're telling them to come during class time. Those are just some things that I've been working on. So.
Thank you. Next we move to staff update. Mark Paolucci.
And just one observation, I think, that I had last week. We had the opportunity to hand out tickets at the Welcome and Information Center for the event that didn't happen on Thursday, which was disappointing, but just an observation that we handed out the tickets for students and faculty at about 10:30 or so on Tuesday, last minute. You know, all these people are going to come scurrying over, and our first students arrived at about 7 o'clock, and in an orderly fashion, there was a line forming all the way up the quad. And we were able to unofficially hand out about 1,000 tickets to faculty and students, and it took about 2 hours time. And I think it's because our students are so respectful. Like, it wasn't an angry mob. Everybody lined up, they had their IDs ready, they got a free ticket, and they moved on, and they were really happy about that. Now they had a keepsake of the event that never happened. But I think we're fortunate to have, as a staff person, I can say that we have great students here that, you know, can do something like that, and hopefully the president will come again, because we did such a great job of getting tickets and getting everything ready for them, and having them not show up.
He won't come again, he'll come, because he hasn't been here yet.
But maybe he'll stop by and have lunch with us after he's not president. I think when you look at other schools that, you know, have a pumpkin fest, and I don't think it was all students that were in
Apple picking.
at Keene State, I think it was, and, you know, I don't think those were just their students. I think it was friends of friends and just people that crashed a good time. But you don't see that, I think, at Rhode Island College, and I think we're fortunate to have good students. Hopefully they'll come not back for the first time as president. Thank you.
Representative Trombley, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. The point made by Mr. Paolucci, Representative Paolucci, reminded me of an issue that was brought up to me by many of the secretaries of the college.
Representative Trombley, my suggestion to you would be to bring this up under issues of parliament members.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. Next we move to alumni update, Hillary Costa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a quick couple of announcements. So on November 5th, during free period, there's going to be a really, really cool communication department panel because they're unveiling new parts of their curriculum. They're adding more courses in fundraising and development, political communication, and healthcare communication. And you should all go because I heard there's going to be a really cool panelist named Hillary Costa. And so, shameless plug. So November 5th during free period, and you can see me and ask me questions, and there's going to be a Ben & Jerry's ice cream bar.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yes.
Excellent invite.
Yeah, there you go. Number 2, I just want to commend our faculty representative because I felt so loved that she reached out to be like, what are alums doing of the political science department? I'm like, wow, someone cares. But on a more serious note, I just want to point out, and I'm not going to go on a rant here, but I hope that we think more about alumni culture because when I was first coming to campus, like the first 1 or 2 meetings, I'd come and staff or faculty would see me and be like, didn't you graduate? What are you still doing here? Go on and live your life, and and I would laugh at first, but now it's gotten to the point where I don't really I don't know. It's just it doesn't make me feel welcome here, and I'm not looking for everyone to be like, yay, you're back! But you know what? I don't want to feel like I'm guilty for coming back here. You know what I mean? And we always complain about how, no, we don't have any alumni coming back. And as a student, I would sit on the other side of that table and say, why don't we have any alumni coming back? And that's the reason why. Because we make people feel, we use the Rick stigma of you've been here forever. And I don't know. I just hope that, and it starts with you guys too, and I hope that you guys think more about alumni culture. And I mean, the jokes are funny, but after a while it's like, okay. Especially from faculty and staff more so. I'm not going to name names because I've been going to meetings here or I go to events on weekends. Me, Rob, and Rob had the charity every Saturday for 9 months. But just think about those things. Don't make me feel like a you-know-what for coming back here because I love coming back here. I love coming here Wednesday nights or coming to events. And I'm trying to help change the alumni culture and help people see that it's not lame to come back because I think that's what some alums think, and it's not a bad thing to come back. It doesn't make it, it's not that you don't have a life that you're coming back here. You just want to continue. You know what I mean? You guys aren't supposed to respond, but I'm just asking hypothetically, you know what I mean? So that's I'm going to step off the soapbox and hand it to issues of Parliament members. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Alumni Representative Costa. Next we move to appointments, resignations, and vacancies.
Thank you.
President Santuri,
Speaker
the
Howard.
floor is now yours.
Mine again? Not top coordinator Fagan again? He's just very popular. So, I'm going to read off read off the appointments first, and then we'll go from there, get approval, and then read off the resignations, everything. To the Bylaws Adjudication Commission, I'm appointing Robert Sanchez as a non-parliament seat. To the, making sure as I go, because I forgot someone last time, so I don't want to do that again. To the Public Relations Committee, I am appointing Brittany Fazioka as one of the Parliament people, and Alicia Aldridge as one of the non-Parliament people. Again, Alicia, be sure to fill out that committee form tomorrow. Thank you. To the Student Organizations Committee, I'm appointing Jarrell James to one of the Parliament seats, and to the non-Parliament seat, Christy Sacco. To the Council of Rhode Island College, alongside myself, I'm appointing Speaker Howard. And let's see. To the committee, you're gonna be with me on a Friday. Isn't that fun?
It's my dream. I dream about it every day.
Yo, it's also I'll talk about the
It's
other
a
Friday
dull
committee.
parliament,
Yeah.
except it's more whining.
I have no comment to start. To The Committee on College Lectures, I'm appointing Nicholas Rose. Sorry. And that is all I have for appointments at this time. I ask those be accepted with unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to these appointments being accepted with unanimous consent? With no objections, yeah, they're
Okay.
accepted.
So, moving, take two, resignations. I have 2 resignations and 1 expulsion. Ooh. Well, resignations. Unfortunately, we have a resignation this evening from Parliament alongside the committees. President Santuri, I must from this point forward, literally this point forward, resign my seat in Parliament and all associated committees and commissions. I must resign in order to focus on my academics and due to personal time constraints. I do not believe I am able to give Parliament the due diligence. I ask that this resignation be accepted with my regrets. Kenneth Hughes. And so that I ask that this resignation be accepted with deep regret. And also he will be resigning from Parliament, Conditions and Services, Elections, and the Student Conduct Board.
Are there any objections to Representative Hughes' resignation being accepted with deep regret? With no objections, accepted with deep regret.
Thank you, Speaker Howard. And also we have Bernie Zogo from Bylaws Education, because we're joining PR. And in expulsions, unfortunately, Sean Coyle from SOC due to excessive leaves. And that is all the resignations and vacancies. So, here are some of the vacancies. I'm not going to read every single one. I'm just going to have some of the main ones. Academic Affairs Committee, especially going into the spring semester. I will be working with Dr. Kobe Bierman alongside the students on that committee about advising, among other things. So if you're interested, there are 3 Parliament seats open and 3 non-Parliament seats open. So tell your friends. I would love to have more people on there. For Conditions and Services, we still have Parliament and non-Parliament seats open. For the Finance Commission, we have 3 non-Parliament seats open. For Public Relations, as Phil mentioned earlier, Vice President Broder, he's looking for non-Parliament students for the most part. For the...
Anybody.
Please. Now, I just mentioned a couple college committees, just ones I really like to see filled. Speaking of Friday committees, there is a committee on academic advising where you can join myself and Dr. Brody Bierman at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. I see so many takers now. But it is non-Parliament as well, so if you know anyone who's interested, please let me know. They meet once a month, so it's not every Friday at 8 a.m. I'm looking for a student for the Academic Integrity Board. That's in consultation with Dr. Kane here. Looking for students for the Committee on Academic Procedures, Policies and Procedures, and also to the Academic Standing Committee. And I'm also looking for non-Parliament students for the Performance and Fine Arts Commission and the Student for the Advisory Board, as Dr. Kane mentioned earlier. And I am also looking for a student for the Student Conduct Board and 2 for traffic and parking. I know almost every meeting we have complaints about traffic and parking. So I know you guys are already on committees and commissions, so if you know any friends who also have problems with traffic and parking or want to be aware of what's going on at this college and have that hour or so when they meet, please let me know. I'd be happy to appoint them. Just have to fill out committee form. On that note, that's all I have for vacancies.
Okay, next we move to...
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm forgetting which one it was that I had a question about. It was...
I'll let you peruse.
Yeah.
Here you go.
I have a question on that
Yes.
actually now. Dr. Kane, when does academic integrity meet? Because I was on it last year and we never met.
Academic Integrity Board?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was on it and
Yeah.
I never got an email. Same with Campus Store Board and the other, not academic integrity, the other one.
Well, I would bet that the Academic Integrity Board met, but perhaps you were not notified.
I was just about to say contact Dolores Passerelli, but then I would date myself.
No, so she's not here. But you know what, I mean, I get the names from Mary and Joan frequently and try to keep the list updated. I'm trying to push those out to the chair, so I'll make sure that they have your name. Normally with like the Student Conduct Board and the Academic Integrity Board, it is when there is a case. You know, there's no set schedule, it just depends on, you know, if there's no activity, if there's no academic integrity issues, they're not gonna meet, but, you know, so you could go a very long time without having, any type of meeting, and then all of a sudden, you know, you have to meet 3 Fridays in a row. or-
Just like bylaws.
Yeah. But I'll make sure your name is pushed out.
Representative, Vice President Roder?
I saw the thing, my question was answered.
Okay.
So thing.
Next, we move to issues of Parliament members. Before we continue with issues, I would just like to remind everyone that you are not allowed to respond to people's issues. If you have something to say to someone, my suggestion to you would be to talk to them after the meeting, but you are not allowed to respond to their issues.
Raise your cards high.
Okay, yeah, raise your cards high so Deputy Speaker Vanderbilt can write them down.
Thank you, Phil.
I don't know if this helps.
Representative Navarro. Keep them raised. Keep them
Keep
raised.
them raised.
If she hasn't written-
Unless I
she
make
hasn't
like
updated.
a nod at you, you're good, you're good.
Representative Navarro.
Yes, I just wanted to bring up the current policy that clubs have, that their funds are from like from the current year is taken back into the big account, like if it's not used. And I was wondering who exactly, like, I wanted to discuss of changing it, like, to whoever it is, if they can meet with me afterwards, like, so they can have something extra, like, if they didn't use that fund, like, to have it for next year along with their new budget. So that's something that I just wanted to discuss with whoever particularly can flag me and tell me about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Representative Navarro. Next, we move to Representative Goldberg.
Okay, so I have not yet complained about the shuttle, but I went for the most frightening ride of my life today. There's a new shuttle driver. He went over several curbs. He drove straight over the rotary. We got air. We got air.
Like a 90s
It's 8
Disney
in the
movie.
morning, and I was definitely awake.
Yes.
We drove through many parking lots that aren't usually on the route. I got a very nice tour of campus. And given I was going from Brown to Roberts Hall, there should only be one stop in the middle, and we toured all of campus. It was a great little tour, but I thought I was gonna die. So I'm not really sure who to talk about this, but I don't want students to die on the shuttle. It tends to be bad publicity. So, sorry, G. Penny's not here for you to tell them about this.
He's here in spirit.
He's in France on a boat.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Representative Goldberg. Next, we move to Representative Rose.
Thank you. Just one announcement. This classmate of mine, Gregory Sankey, he's actually one of the founders of Revive the Roots, which is actually a nonprofit organization. It's like a community garden and forested area, and they're located at 374 Barnum Pike in Smithfield. And they are actually currently looking for volunteers for that organization. So if any of you are interested, just please let Gregory know at his Rick email. And I hope he'll get back to you on that. And that's all for my announcement.
Okay, thank you, Representative Rose. Next, we move to Representative Trombley.
Hi again, thank you. I have 2 issues that I'd like to address. The first is with advisor appointments. I know I'm not the freshman class representative. I'm sure they would bring it up if they were here. Are they here? I don't know. Sorry.
Pretty sure I did not.
But the issue, and I work in political science. I do my work study there, and one of the teachers asked me if I could make a sort of chart or PowerPoint presentation to help incoming freshmen in their first year seminar class understand making an appointment with an advisor better, and because they had literally no idea what they were doing. So I'm going off what they said, but I trust them, and I think that it should be possible for us to maybe make a recommendation to Oasis or maybe some group like that does that sort of thing to help incoming students understand how making an appointment with an advisor works. My second issue, and like I said, Representative Paolucci brought this up. Well, he didn't bring this up, but he reminded me of this issue. I talked to a few staff members last week and this week that raised concerns about the tickets for the president's visit. When the tickets were offered to students and faculty, the email did not include staff as being able to join that group that was able to collect tickets and wait in line for tickets, and so they had to wait in the public line with everyone else. And a lot of them brought up the issue that it's not really fair, seeing as how they also work on campus and they're also here, so they should also, and I know it was corrected, but they still think it might be something to think of ahead of time. So, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Trumbull. Alumni Representative Costa.
Totally forgot what I was gonna say, but I'm on the last on the list.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion
Oh,
to
right.
adjourn.
Just
President
casual.
Costa, second
Well,
by Representative Goldberg.
Yes.
Is there any discussion on adjourning? With no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? We are adjourned. Please stay silent and seated while Mr. Hoviak reads the call.
Robert Santuri.
Here.
Philip Roeder. Doris Bermudez. Robert Smith. Laura Howard.
Here.
Samantha Mandeville.
Here.
Alexandra Ash. Elizabeth Diogiro. Josh Estrella. Adam Fig.
Here.
Brittany Brzoko. Ashley Goldberg. Jarrell James. Jason Johnson. Naphtali Navarro. Toby Riseborough. Jason Royas. Nicholas Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Derek Trombley.
Here.
Scott Keen. Michelle Brophy-Behrman. Mark Paolucci. Hillary Costa.
Here. Okay, have a good week, guys.